Welcome back into Rounding Third Podcast, episode 261, Playoff Prediction Show. I'm Nick, and we have Harrison again, as always, tonight. How are we doing tonight, Harrison?
I am fantastic, Nick. I am checking in from beautiful Bartlett, New Hampshire, way up there in the White Mountains.
They have electricity up there?
They do, and they've got internet that seems like it's okay. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. Well, hope you're enjoying the time up there as it starts to get cold while we have 90-degree days down here. So, whatever.
Yeah,
All right.
It was 75. It is a whopping 60 now.
Oh, nice. All right, we are going to get into it. But first, make sure you follow and like us on Facebook. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can also follow on Instagram, Rumble, and TikTok. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. We also have our affiliate sponsors, Dick's Sporting Goods, MLB Shop, and Lids. You can find these links on the tops of all of our socials. So if you do any shopping through these companies, please do it through our links as we get a nice little kickback with no additional cost to you. Just a great way to support the show. Also have Rounding Third merch on Etsy. If you search Rounding Third Baseball on Etsy, you can find tons of gear. And it's just another great way to get our name out there and to support the show. And also on Patreon, we are building a small community over there where we will have live watch parties during the playoffs. We'll be talking baseball. There'll be live merch drops at some point. So definitely come check us out over there on Patreon. You can become a free member or you can be a paid subscriber just to help out the show. So here we go. We're going to get into a couple news things, and then we're going to dive into games 162 and the playoff pictures. Ollie Marmol and the Cardinals intentionally walked Michael Busch, who was a single short of the cycle, with a runner on third and 2 outs in a 7-3 game. For me, that was complete quote-unquote Busch League. I mean, you're playing for nothing, but it's essentially an exhibition game. That's how I'm looking at that.
No, and it's fair. I mean, Ollie Marmol continues to show that he's a little bit, immature, a little bit incapable, a little bit out of his element. Every time we think that they make progress or he shows some progress, stuff like this happens.
Yeah.
And it's terrible. It's just terrible.
Yeah, it really is. And I was just like, I mean, my fantasy team didn't need it. He still scored me 39 points for that game. But still, for me, I was just like, come on now. Like, brutal. But.
Well, and again, I think the point of it all is that you're not playing for anything. There's nothing major happening. There was no reason to not give the guy a shot to do what he was trying to do. And you took the bat out of his hand selfishly in a game that doesn't matter, in a season that's already over for you. It just, there are times where Ollie Marmol doesn't seem to understand baseball.
Yeah.
I think that's the issue.
If it's a 3-2 game or 2-1 game, I can totally see it. It's 7-3. Pitch to the dude.
It was over.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. All right. So now here we go. We're going to start diving into the clinchers and all that.
Cap'n over here. Cap'n goes, well, the Cards are playing for 78 wins.
Well, fair. Crazy. All right. So the Cleveland Guardians clinch a playoff berth on a walk-off hit by pitch. Is that the best feeling ever after getting drilled by 95 right in the ribs?
I mean, that's about the only way that pitch doesn't hurt is when you get to walk off with a win in a huge game.
Yeah, we see something new every night. Say it every show, and this was a new one on me. I don't think I've ever seen a walk-off hit by pitch to clinch a playoff berth. That is wild.
No, it's like with everything. We keep saying that as old as baseball is, we still see all these new firsts, and that is definitely one of them. I did hear a funny line, and it was something along the lines of, finally the Texas Rangers pitching has knocked somebody out of the playoffs. Unfortunately, it was the Tigers.
Yeah, but the the Tigers are still in the playoffs, but we'll get to that in a little bit. All right. Your thoughts on game 162? Like, I mean, I love the day. Everybody starts at 3. Games are over by 5:36, and we have playoff results. What are your thoughts on this final day and what happened throughout baseball on this last day? Because there was a lot of teams still playing for things.
I mean, you couldn't have written a better, I think, ending to the season. You had everything you wanted. You had the Mets falling apart. So you had the Reds losing, giving the Mets a chance to make it, and the Mets get just embarrassed by the Marlins, which we said they could. The Marlins could absolutely ruin their season, and they did. You had the Houston Astros season ruined by the Angels this weekend. You had for game 162, you had the Tigers and Guardians go right down to the end. You had the Red Sox and Tigers right down to the end. I mean, the Tigers tried to rally even to come back and take that game. You had the Blue Jays and the Yankees right down to the very end. Both teams winning. They're other than the Mets kind of laying an egg, you had everything you hoped for today.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't hope for the Mets to lay an egg, but everybody played well but the Mets.
And that's embarrassing. I mean, it is a must win for the Mets. That's your only chance to get into the playoffs, right? And hope that the Reds lose, which they did. So you had a chance, and they mustered, what was it, 3 hits, something like that. Maybe it
Yeah,
was not a
I think it was
lot.
5 hits. Five
Okay,
hits. I think
5
they only
hits.
had. I think they only had one runner get past second base, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was so bad that Pete Alonso has already told the media that he's opting out and going to free agency. I
That's
mean, the
awesome.
final out wasn't even recorded, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm opting out." I mean, it was. I'm just being a little facetious there, but holy cow! I don't get it. It's crazy. Is there lack of leadership there? Is it too many people trying to be a leader? Is it Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto saying I'm the leader of this team and there's too many cooks in the kitchen? Like what is it with the Mets that they just can't do anything?
I mean, honestly, if you go back to the prediction show, I mean, we said it. They spent a bunch of money on pieces they didn't need, and they didn't spend the money in the areas that they did. They needed pitching. They needed pitching bad. They needed starting pitching in the worst way. They didn't go get it. What they got was trash. Montas didn't even pitch for them. Um, they did exactly what we said they shouldn't do, which is they blew all their budget on Juan Soto, and Juan Soto had a great season. Juan Soto did what Juan Soto does,
Right.
but they didn't have the pitching, and the offense was not consistent enough to fill in that gap.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
bought the wrong stuff.
yeah, Juan Soto is nice, right? But I think, like you said, like that wasn't a glaring need for the Mets. Is he a luxury piece? Absolutely, 1,000%. Is he going to help you win ball games? Absolutely. But it wasn't the glaring hole that the Mets needed at all. Do we blame the Mets managerial team? I mean, I would to a certain extent, but the Mets were also banking on 3 rookies down the stretch to get them there. I mean, that's how much they were hurting for starting pitching. And
Yeah,
and
I
Clay
think
and Clay Holmes, did everything he could. He had a pretty decent year for being a bullpen guy that is brought into the starting rotation.
well, and Clay Holmes threw a gem for you yesterday when you had to win a game.
Yep.
He went out there and spun one of his best starts of the season, and then you came out today and just fell flat. I do think the Mets used more starting pitchers than any team in baseball
Yep.
because they just could not find guys that could fit the bill because they didn't go get them. One. And two, I do think Mendoza at times proved that he's not a great tactical manager. I think there are a lot of bullpen mistakes. I think there are a lot of lineup tweaks that didn't need to get made. I think there's a lot of stuff that could have been done differently. I don't think he's a great kind of tactical manager, but the players love him.
Yeah.
But if I'm Steve Cohen after spending $339 million, of which some of that's coming out of my pocket personally, I'm doing a full on, put the rubber gloves on. I'm going in every crevice of this organization to find out what happened. Like,
Yeah.
how do we fix it? It's going to be a deep, deep, deep dive
Yeah.
because you can't spend $339 million and miss the playoffs.
No, not at all. It's embarrassing, and I do feel bad for Mets fans. Like I really do. Like it's too bad. Someone said it back here. Carl did. I feel for Mets fans, but the team crashed hard. Yeah, they absolutely did. And sorry, Musicum, but yeah, enough bargain hunting. Mullins garbage, Helsley garbage, Stanek garbage. Let's just go down. Um, yeah, I mean, it's blame the Mets front office for no pitching signed, and that's exactly what Harrison said. Yeah, we're with you for sure. Um, I mean, Mets starting Mania again was ridiculous. Yeah, in the game you absolutely needed. He lasted what, 2/3 of an inning? When did they go get him? Second inning? It was early.
It wasn't good. I mean, the Mets scored 4 runs today, all in the third or fourth inning,
You
and
mean
it just
Marlins did?
sorry, Marlins. Yeah, sorry, the Marlins, and it got away from them so fast, and then they could not come back from it.
Yeah, Musicum, I'm with you. I think we will see a fallout from here. So we asked, what was it, Thursday, which manager kind of going into the playoffs on the hot seat? I think it's Mendoza. I think you have to. I think you have to reset that whole coaching staff for sure.
Yeah,
Mets
and
fans showed the team didn't. Yeah.
and if we go back to our prediction show, Nick, you and I both said Mets are not a playoff team,
Mm-hmm.
and they weren't, and for the exact reasons we said they wouldn't be. Didn't have the pitching.
Yeah. And it came back to bite him for sure. Mets need to fire Mendoza. I don't think they will win with him as manager. Yeah. I mean, coming from a Phillies fan, but we get it. Yeah. Carl said I saw a stat that said 24 out of 30 teams finished with 75 or more wins this season, which tied 2006 for the most teams with that many wins or more. One of the most competitive seasons I can remember. And yeah, I mean, day 162 proved it. We had teams battling for the last playoff spot. We had teams battling for the division. Four teams battling for two division spots. So I mean, yeah, competitive it definitely was. I agree with you. Now, is that a product of the balanced schedule, do you think? I think it could be, where teams are a
Yeah,
little bit closer. You're playing, you're not playing the Rockies 19 times a year.
yeah. More teams get a shot at the Rockies now.
Right. Right.
um, no, I definitely I think it's a couple things. I think it is definitely the balanced schedule helps to level that out because you're playing a much more even spread around the league. So you play the bad teams as much as you play the good teams.
Yeah.
Um, and I do think that a lot of the teams towards the bottom of the league took some pretty good sized steps forward this year with young players and things that they did. So you didn't have the same level of kind of basement dwellers that we've had in the past.
Yeah. Joseph, this is a great point. Mets might still have a big pitching sign a big pitching signing sting after Verlander and Scherzer because they got burned on that. You're right. And that could be
Bad.
it. And that's why, our Red Sox have not signed big free agents in the past few years because they were on a stretch that was horrendous free
Yeah.
agent signings. You had Carl Crawford, you had Pablo Sandoval. Price was okay, but I mean, it was just one after another, and maybe that's part of it for sure.
Yeah. Interesting comment from Captain over here on Patreon. So, saying the Mets team was built. It was not built, it was bought because a built team tends to be more cohesive and play together better. Whereas a bought team, it's the old adage of 25 guys, 25 cabs,
Yep.
where you bring in a bunch of talent, they just come in and do their thing, and then they all just go different directions.
Yeah. Yeah, Forrest, this would have been incredible if Cincinnati
Yeah.
and San Diego switched places. We would have a full slate of division rivals in the first round. Would be insane. That would be crazy. Um, yeah, nuts. And you think the Marlins would be very good next year? Yeah, I said it on Thursday. I think they could be a surprise team next year. I think they could take another step forward, um, and do some damage for sure. I'm
Yeah.
with you.
We said it last year. They won the trade deadline last year. They piled in young talent. They were the most improved team this year. And as much as we rag on the Marlins, they are building it the right way. They're not trying to go out and make some crazy free agent signing to bring in a guy like a Soto. They're building it from within. These are guys that have played together, that are coming up to the major leagues together, who will continue to play together. And that familiarity is a big deal.
Yeah. So yeah, I absolutely loved the whole day. Just turned on MLB Big Inning and just let that thing eat for 3 hours. It was absolutely incredible. I didn't miss a single pitch out of any of the games. At one time they had 6 games on the screen, which is one of the first times they've ever done it this year. And it was really cool. So final day, it was awesome. It was everything we thought it was gonna be. Teams playing for things, and it wasn't just a dud. So because even the teams that clinched were still playing for seedings, which was pretty cool. So
Oh yeah, I mean you hadn't decided the AL East or the AL Central this morning. Like you were waiting for this afternoon to decide 2 division winners, your last wild card spot in the AL, and then also your last wild card spot in the NL. And that, as we kept saying, like we wanted to do our playoff predictions, but that bracket could change literally so much today that it
yeah,
was hard to do our predictions any earlier than this afternoon.
yeah, it's crazy. So all right,
So to go back to the Marlins real quick,
all
question
right,
from Michael. Question from Michael, but it's where do the Marlins step up to? The Braves won't be as bad, we hope, because there's going to be a huge shakeup there. The Phillies and the Mets aren't going anywhere either. What is the ceiling for the Marlins? It's a fair question. That could be if that division plays out the way it's supposed to, that could be one of the best divisions in baseball, if not the best division in baseball.
yeah. Honestly, depending on what the Mets do, they could have a fire sale. If Pete Alonso's already gone, he already said it, right? That's
Yep.
big production that you're missing out of that spot. Um, they could trade some pieces away. They could tear it all down and just be like, what we've been doing the last some odd years isn't working. So let's just ship everybody out. I think the only person that stays, or 2 people, I would say, is Lindor and Soto. And then even then, I wouldn't be surprised if they move Lindor at this point. If they're doing a complete fire sale, maybe they do. I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking right now. But there's no way Pete comes back to New York after that. No way. In my eyes.
I think Pete wants to be appreciated for what he does. He wants to be paid like the player that he is. And I think the fact that he opted out so quickly shows that there's more to this whole Mets situation than meets the eye. Because he bleeds Mets. Like he
Yeah.
is Mr. Met if you had to pick a guy. And for him to opt out so fast, it's almost like he couldn't wait to get the hell out of there, which makes you wonder, is there more to the story about what's going on with this Mets team than just the performance? Is there something in the clubhouse? Is there something with the personalities? Like we were talking about, like what is that dynamic? Because it is a little strange for somebody to be so anxious to opt out.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw that ball he hit with the bases loaded where he lined out. He absolutely smoked it. It was like 116 miles per hour. He couldn't even believe the left fielder got to it. But I mean, just smoked. It was just tough luck there. But yeah, I think Pete might be going to the other side of New York. There's some talk already. Red Sox need a first baseman. Yankees will definitely Goldschmidt probably gone or retiring. We don't really know his status, but I mean, I think he could come back. He had a pretty decent year. He had a kind of bounce back year. There's some teams that are going to need a first baseman for sure. So going to be interesting. But I tend to lean to you. I think he fits that Yankee profile. High strikeout, 50 home run guy. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, he does. I mean, Pete would be a great fit in Boston, right-handed power hitter, taking over the monster. He'd be a great fit there. I don't see the Red Sox making a move for a guy who's a mediocre defender with a lot of strikeouts and a big bat. I just don't think he fits the kind of the setup of that team. However, I do think that it's going to take a lot for the Mets to get Pete to come back.
Yeah.
Pete
Oh, absolutely.
was way too anxious to get out of town, which tells me that he is going to have to be really wooed to come back to the Mets. He's going to go to hit the market and find a new home.
Yeah, I agree with you for sure. Yeah. So, comment about the Reds back here with Cameron. Yeah, add another year to the Reds rotation. Green, Abbott, Lodolo, Burns, and a fifth can be scary if healthy. I am interested to see what these Cincinnati Reds can do in big games, right? This is a huge series against Dodgers. You just got to scrape together 2 wins to get by them, and they could do it. I mean, the Brewers are no slouch, and they played them really tough. So, and anything can happen in postseason.
Yep.
Kind of not
One
going to.
Yeah, one blooper, one bad hop, one. I
Yeah,
mean, the playoffs, everything changes,
one mistake.
on a dime.
Yep. And I think that might be where the youth will get to them in the playoffs, but they're there. They're dancing. That's all you just go from there. But I like them. I'm glad they're there. I'm glad they made it. So,
Yeah, and I thought the Reds were a little too early to be a playoff team this year, and they probably were because it took a pretty epic collapse by the Mets to get there. But that is a team that, although they had a weird couple of months in like July and August, they played well when it mattered. And I
yep.
do think a lot of that is the Francona effect of getting the ship right when it was not right.
Yeah. Yeah. Green's pitching great right now. I mean, Abbott had a pretty decent outing today. I mean, they got some guys that can pitch. And in the postseason, if you got hot pitching, you can ride them. We've seen that year after year after year. Lindor for Volpe trade to the Yankees. That's not happening.
The Yankees would love to make that deal if the Mets would have to get their heads examined.
Yeah. So, but crazy. Go Mariners, just saying hi real quick, finishing up with a move in the U-Haul. Nice.
All right. Cap'n over here in the chat was saying the polar bear would be comfortable in Seattle's cooler climate, which we both thought that the Mariners would make a real run at Pete, and they didn't, which was surprising. Another comment: the Reds are early, but they will actually be really good in a couple of seasons, and I tend to agree that the Reds are early. This is a little bit of a gift for them, but it's a chance for these guys to get some experience in the postseason as they build up to become a team that should be there frequently.
Yep. Just get their feet wet for sure.
Yep.
Exactly. All right, Harrison. Which team then had the biggest collapse in your eyes? The New York Mets because they didn't make the playoffs, or the Detroit Tigers not winning the division? Which team is you got to pick one?
Yes. Okay, I have to pick one? All right, fine.
Yeah.
All right. If I had to pick one, it's to me, it's the Tigers. And yes, the Mets payroll is a joke that they can't win with that much money, but the Tigers had a lead that was so big, the whole world wrote that division off back in like June. Like that race was over. That race was over. Like we were literally like laughing about it in June. Like that division is so done that it's not worth watching it anymore. And here we are with them barely scraping into the playoffs as a wild card.
It is a crazy that it is the tale of two seasons for them. Like they were completely out of it last year in August, and then all of a sudden September they're like, "Oh wait, we're in this thing." Like holy smokes, like we have a shot to get to the playoffs, and then they did. And then this year it's the complete opposite. Like, oh hey, we have a 20-game lead in August. Well, let's just blow it real quick. Like just complete polar opposites. Now, I'm going to go with the other one. I'm going to go with Musicum and say it's the Mets because at least Detroit got into the playoffs. So, yes, losing a 15.5 game lead is something we've never seen before. No one's ever lost a 15.5 game lead like that to get bumped out of first place. But for me, it's the Mets. You didn't make the playoffs. You have, you're spending $800 million on these guys a year, and they didn't get in. But if anybody knows anything about collapses, it's the Mets. And I get that, right? But I just, man, oh man, for me, it's the Mets because at least the Tigers are dancing. The Mets are packing up and heading home.
Yeah, and a great point by Joseph. Best record in baseball at the All-Star break. Like they were running away.
Yeah.
And then just completely fell apart.
Barely made the playoffs.
Great comment by Cap'n on Patreon here. Cleveland didn't catch the Tigers as much as the Tigers just flat out gave it to them. There's no world in which any of us thought the Indians were going to catch up. Like Juan said, none of us thought Cleveland had a shot at the division title. Like they
No
they
chance.
sold. Yeah, they sold at the break. They lost guys due to gambling issues. Like that was a team that was never going to catch up. And here they are, winning the Central.
We kind of said that at the deadline. They were trying to get rid of Quan. They didn't really like the deals or packages that were sent to them. So they held on to Quan, and then all of a sudden, Class A goes away with all those gambling accusations. And we're like, well, and we said this week after week, we're like, what are the Guardians?
Yeah.
Like, we don't know what to even think of them. But again, they are the American League Brewers. They don't beat themselves. They just play sound baseball all the time, consistent baseball every night. They don't beat themselves. You have to beat them. And no one did that down the stretch. Their pitching was lights out. Their starters were in the last 20 games where they had like a ERA of 1.7 and their bullpen was like 1.8, something like that. I mean, both were sub 2. You're not going to lose ball games when your pitching staff is doing that. Crazy.
Yeah, and like as Forrest says here, Detroit and Cleveland got cold hot at the same time. Yeah, Detroit went ice cold starting in like the second half of August, and Cleveland was red hot. I mean, I saw it yesterday. They've won 19 of their last 23 games, 19-4, basically for the month of September to get to where they got to. I mean, that's unbelievable for for a 23 game span.
Which leaves the Astros sitting there like, what the hell just happened? Right? I mean, like literally, they haven't been playing terrible. I mean, they haven't been playing great either, but they were winning games they needed to, except for against the Angels, the last 2 of the season. But like, you didn't expect the Guardians to come up and do that. The Astros were sitting pretty. And then all of a sudden, they're just like flat on their backs and out of the playoffs. And they're just like, wait, what just happened? Crazy. It was a crazy run.
And the Astros finished the season with the exact same record as the Tigers, but the tiebreaker bites them.
Yep. Yeah. Crazy. All right. So we did bring this up. Pete Alonso already pretty much post-game interview conference. He's like, I'm opting out. I'm done with the Mets. I do not see him coming back to the Mets at all. There's no way. There's no way that he goes back to the Mets, right?
I'm not going to say there's no way he goes back. Ultimately, Pete, there's nobody that's more in love with the Mets than Pete Alonso. He loves the Mets. He wants to be a Met, always wanted to be a Met. I think that given the situation, it's just going to take a lot to get him to go back there because it's almost like being in a bad relationship. It's an abusive relationship. He loves the team. The team's not giving him the love back. And I think now he's at a point where he's like, all right, like I've had enough of this. I really want to be there, but you got to show me you're going to change. And I don't know that they're going to be able to get him to the point where he's comfortable saying, yes, like this will be different than it's been, because the Mets have some seriously massive commitments out there that are going, as we said when they signed Soto, that is going to restrict your ability to go sign other players and pick up other pitchers. And it's like, well, Cohen's got endless money. He does. But even he put a cap on it this year. He basically said, yeah, I'll throw money into this thing, but I'm not going beyond this point. He does have a limit. He is a financial guy at heart. He's not just going to throw money at this thing, endlessly. And
especially if it doesn't work.
Right. And it's going to restrict what they can do. They can't just go sign everybody because Cohen's loaded.
Yeah, I mean, they can, but he's choosing not to, but that's fine. But
yeah, he's not going to do it.
Right. It didn't work. You didn't even get this team into the postseason. Right?
Yeah, $339 million can't buy you a wild card.
And this is a good point too, Thomas. Would you want him back after opting out so quickly after the game? I mean, like I made the joke, like I don't even think the final out was recorded. And Pete's like, I'm opting out. I'm out of here.
See ya.
Yeah, it's
and crazy. This isn't. Cappen's got an interesting take, and I don't necessarily disagree with what he's saying. He says, I don't think the Mets wanted him when they signed him. And I think the Mets did everything they could to find another option and couldn't, and went back to Pete. And Pete was happy to go back to New York because he loves New York. But I do think this season was a lesson in why maybe they shouldn't, neither one of them should have gone for that deal.
But there wasn't a lot of teams really interested in Pete either. Like it
Well,
was the other way as well from what because we
they
were tracking it
yeah,
and we didn't really.
they weren't interested in him at the price that he was asking for. But I think
Well, fair.
if he had gotten realistic, I think he would have had a market. I think Boris, or no, not he's not a Boris guy, is he? Whoever his agent is, I can't remember. Um, kind of set the price so high, teams kind of went, yeah, at that price, no thanks.
Yeah, I don't know. So he's not a Met. Where does he go? I know we touched on it briefly. Where do you realistically see him going?
Oh boy, I mean it's really hard because there's about a dozen opt outs that are going to significantly influence how the market shapes up. Um, I do think he could be an option for the Yankees. I do not see the Red Sox in a world where they would take a look at him. Um, there's really none of these middle market teams are going to shell out the money that he wants. Um, I don't know if a team like San Diego or San Francisco would want to make a move like that. They might be dark horses kind of in the background, although I think San Diego's got payroll constraints. Um, and I could see maybe a team like Texas who just needs to find a way to stabilize that offense. But I don't think there's a huge market for him, given what he's probably looking for and his age. But I think there's going to be a half a dozen teams that are going to be interested.
I think for me, I think you nailed it earlier when you said the Mariners. I think with Josh Naylor being a free agent, if they can't re-sign him or Naylor decides to go somewhere else, Pete could be a good backup there. I think my sleeper team, and I picked it this offseason, was the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Hmm.
That was before the Josh Naylor trade. But I think he could still go there. They had a lot of money come off the books, getting rid of Gino, getting rid of Naylor's contract, getting rid of Merrill Kelly. Zach Gallen's a free agent. So they will have some money to spend. Um, Possibly Arizona could be a fit, but that's
Yeah.
kind of all I'm thinking about right now. But
Yeah. And this is an interesting take by Kyle. He's not going to go to the Yankees because the Yankees have Ben
mm,
Rice. I mean,
fair.
Ben Rice had a good start to this season, but
He hit
I
two
don't
home
know
runs
that.
today too.
Yeah, I don't know if he's the guy they're going to build around or not. Um,
I think he could be. The kid's still young. He's good.
yeah,
But San Francisco, yeah, yeah. Harrison said the Giants. That could be one for sure. Um, yeah, yeah. And I'm with you, Danny. Here, I mean, Ben Rice hit two bombs today. If he's got first base locked up, they're not going to be running to Pete. So I agree with you there for sure. But
yeah. I do question whether the Yankees are prepared to give Ben Rice the keys or if he's just a nice piece. But we'll see. I think the Yankees, depending on how the playoffs go, may come into the offseason feeling a little differently whether they win or lose.
yeah,
Because
agree.
I think the kind of that urge to win is just getting stronger and stronger.
Yep. All right, let's get into the postseason picture. We're going to kind of talk about this through us. We got like double pictures going on right here,
I
but
know, nice.
yeah, it's nice. So we'll just talk through it, and then Harrison will give his predictions. I'll give you mine, and you guys can tell us how wrong we are in the chats. We're all for it. So let's start right here, top left, Detroit, Cleveland. What is the outlook of this series? How do you feel like this one is going to shape up?
I think that I look at these are two teams that continue to play very different
Mm-hmm.
baseball. The Tigers have been a disaster. The Guardians have been red hot. I don't think the Guardians are just going to wake up on Tuesday morning and cool off. I think they're a team that's going to continue to play good baseball, and being able to play at home is a huge deal in this round because it's 3 rapid fire games, and I like the momentum Cleveland's riding.
Yeah. And Detroit is playing sloppy baseball. They're throwing the
Yes.
ball all over the ballpark. I mean, we saw it this series in Boston. They didn't play great baseball. Um,
No.
I mean, Tarik Skubal the other day trying to long snap it between his legs to get into right. I mean, like stuff like that, like pressing and trying to make plays that aren't there, where Cleveland eats that ball and then gets out of the inning with a double play on the next pitch. Right.
Yep.
So I'm with you. Cleveland is way more disciplined than Detroit is at this moment because Detroit is trying to stop this tailspin, and I don't think they can. So I'm with you there for sure.
Yep.
Let's hop over to the Reds and Dodgers. We'll just go right across the top. So Reds and Dodgers there. How are you feeling about that one? I mean,
I think the Reds are kind of playing with house money. They really aren't supposed to be there yet, so I think it's gonna be a great experience for them. The Dodgers are the, defending world champions and a team that is incredibly loaded in terms of talent. I don't see a scenario where Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati makes it a good series, but I just don't see a world in which LA doesn't move on.
yeah, I'm kind of with you. You got Yamamoto, who is rolling right now for the Dodgers. He's been pitching well the back half of this season. Um, I love the Reds. I'm going to be pulling for them like crazy in this series, but I just don't see how they get by the Dodgers here. I'm with you. But all right, we'll leave that one for end. So let's go Padres Cubs. How do you feel this one will kind of go? What does it look like? This could be probably the best opening round series.
I think this might be the best opening round series. These two teams played each other super even during the season. They are, I think they're a very good matchup. I will say, I think going to Wrigley is definitely a downside for the Padres. That's going to be a loud, unfriendly crowd. The wind can go in there and completely ruin a game. The Cubs are very good at home, so I think San Diego is loaded and might be the third best team in the NL. But I think Chicago having home field advantage. Chicago is playing well. They got some guys some rest, which I think made a big difference. They had a stronger couple of weeks to close out the season. I like the Cubs. I like the Cubs at Wrigley.
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, and you'll see it in my predictions. But I think this bullpen could carry this team quite a ways. They are deep in that bullpen. You got Morihone, you got Miller, you got Estrada, you got Suarez, you got a ton of guys in that bullpen that can chuck it. And I think if those starters, we all know postseason pitching is handled way different than regular season. And if a starter even if a batter fouls two balls off in a row, in comes the bullpen, right? I mean, that's just how it is structured throughout the postseason. So, and I think the Padres and probably the Mariners and Guardians probably have the three best bullpens in the playoffs at this moment. Dodgers just have too many question marks in theirs right now, but I think those three teams have the bullpens that could carry their team far, or at least places in this postseason. So that one's a toss-up for me.
Well, it's funny because I look at this the opposite way of you. Is I don't think the bullpen for the Padres has a big impact because I think the starters are going to be trailing in games and they're going to be playing catch up.
Okay, that's fair.
Because I think that Cease has been wildly inconsistent. Darvish has been wildly inconsistent. Granted, those guys could go no hit you any night they feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that it's going to be tough for that bullpen to have an impact because I think the Cubs are going to be able to get on the starters early.
Yep, I can see that for sure. All right, let's get to our Red Sox and the Yankees. How are we feeling about this one?
As a Red Sox fan, this was the matchup I wanted. One, as I told you, I think this might be what it takes to kind of reignite that rivalry a little bit. The rivalry's been rather dormant. The Red Sox have been kind of irrelevant for the last, 4 years. That rivalry just doesn't feel like it's got the same spice that it used to have. And honestly, the Red Sox owned the Yankees this year, and they owned them at Yankee Stadium. So I think if you're a Red Sox fan, this is the matchup that you wanted. You were 5-2 this year in Yankee Stadium. You pummeled the Yankees on their home field. all year. The Red Sox this year were 9-4 against the Yankees, and it wasn't close. It was a beat down every series. So as a Red Sox fan, this is the matchup that you wanted. Now, at the same time, the Yankees are playing good baseball going into the playoffs, and it's going to hurt a lot to lose to them. But this is the matchup that you wanted.
You have Aaron Judge, who is rolling right now. That dude is on fire. And if he keeps it up, I think the Red Sox could be in trouble. But all right, Harrison.
But keep in mind, Nick, this is the playoffs. Aaron Judge tends to hibernate in October.
That's fair. But there is going to be one postseason where that dude doesn't. And he is due.
I just hope it's not this one.
Yeah, and he's due. All right, Harrison. Here are your predictions. Walk us through them, how you got to them, and here we go.
All right, let's run through the AL first. So Guardians, Tigers. I think the Guardians have got too much momentum. The Tigers are flailing. Skubal has not been super impressive down the stretch. I think the Guardians can neutralize him. I like the Guardians to move on. The Tigers are too much of a mess. And as you said, sloppy baseball. Like they're just not playing good baseball in any facet.
No.
It's just ugly. Drop down Red Sox, Yankees. I'm taking the Red Sox. The Red Sox have owned the Yankees all year. They've owned them at Yankee Stadium, going 5-2. I'll take Garrett Crochet over Max Fried in Game 1 every single day of the week, twice on Sunday. And Game 1 is so critical. I think that'll be a lot of fun to watch for Red Sox and Yankees fans. But that's the matchup that I wanted as a Red Sox fan, and I think the Red Sox carry on. That takes us to the next round, Guardians Mariners. I think the Mariners pitching staff and offense is too much. I think the Guardians have had a great run. I think the Mariners are going to be too much for them, and I see the Mariners moving on. The Red Sox have not played the Blue Jays well this year. I expect Bo Bichette to be back. I expect that lineup to be intact. The Blue Jays have the pitching. Santander is back. I know he's slowly coming back, but I feel like the Red Sox have just not been able to catch the Blue Jays. Blue Jays have home field advantage. I like the Blue Jays. And then for that same reason,
I wish we could just hit Masataka Yoshida 1-9 and we'd be fine in that series.
Against the Blue Jays, yeah, he owns the Blue Jays, but nobody else does.
No,
nobody else does.
It's crazy.
And then for me, Mariners, Blue Jays. This one to me feels like a coin flip. I'm going to take the Blue Jays here. I think the Blue Jays have an equivalent offense. I think the pitching for the Mariners is better. I think the home field means a lot to the Blue Jays, and I'm taking Toronto to win the American League.
Okay.
All right. I got somebody who agrees with me, so maybe I'm not out of my mind.
Yeah. Well, just wait until you see mine.
You want me to do the National League, or you want to do your American League first?
I can do my American League first.
All right,
so
go.
All right. So I went a little bit different than you, but not really. Honestly. So say all the reasons you said. Guardians over Detroit. Detroit's going to continue the collapse. Guardians are rolling. I don't think that's even a series. I think it's 2-0. They're done by Wednesday. Pack it up. Move on to Seattle. You got Red Sox, Yankees. Again, I love my Red Sox, but at some point, Aaron Judge is going to figure it out in the postseason, and it's going to be scary as hell. And they still have Giancarlo Stanton, who someone said earlier in the chat, kind of took my point, has hit 20 home runs in the last 5 postseason games, it seems like. The dude's an absolute beast in October. He's like Kike Hernandez was for the Sox in 21. The Roman Anthony injury, I think, is just too much for this Red Sox team to overcome. I don't think people understand the value that a rookie has brought to this lineup by lengthening it out and giving them lineup versatility where you can put guys in RBI spots. Without Anthony, you're taking Jarren Duran out of the RBI spots and you're putting them in the leadoff spot. Now guys are hitting out of order a little bit. The Red Sox can still hit. I think they can still make that a series, but for some reason, and I hate this prediction, but for baseball's sake, I think the Yankees go on. And the Red Sox haven't been there in a while. They do have veterans that could get them there. You know, Bregman's been there before. He knows what it takes. I know he's kind of struggling, but he knows what it takes to get there. But for me, I think this is the Red Sox. And I mean, it is the Yankees series to win, and it's in the Bronx, which is always tough during the playoffs to play in. It's a tough atmosphere.
Yep.
Going back up to Guardians and Mariners, it's the Mariners pitching that I think wins. If these guys are on, you have to run through Gilbert, Wu, Castillo. I mean, there's just too many good arms in that rotation, and their bullpen is pretty stinking good too. They have some guys that can chuck it. So I think the Mariners are scrappy enough and they're deep enough to beat the Guardians. So I'm taking the Mariners there. I got the Blue Jays over the Yankees. I think the Blue Jays it's their time. I've been on them for the last 3 or 4 years. This was the first year I actually didn't put them in my preseason playoff picks because I'm just like, I can't pick this team anymore. Every year that I think that they're going to take the next step, they just don't. And this year they seem like they have. The pitching's finally performing. The lineup's finally hitting. I mean, even Guerrero doesn't really have the power numbers that he's used to having, but he's still a 300 hitter. I mean, don't get me wrong, 7-game series. I I think they can outlast the Yankees because after Fried, who did the Yankees have? Do you trust Rodon? Do you trust Luis Heel? I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I think the Yankees bullpen could get lit up. I just think the Blue Jays are a little bit deeper in a 7-game series there. Or
Yeah,
is that
and
five? Is it 5? Is it DS
it's five.
5? It's
DS
5.
is five.
Either
It's
way.
3-5-7.
Okay. But either way, I think I'm taking the Blue Jays there. And then overall, I think I got Seattle outlasting Toronto and heading to the World Series because I think again it's the pitching staff, it's the bullpen, and I think the lineup is more complete in Seattle than it is in Toronto. So I'm taking the Mariners out of the AL for sure.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think that there is so much parity across the playoff teams. You know, no 100-game winners. Everybody's got a flaw. You know, there's no team in here who's looking at it going, man, like they've got no problems. Every team has a flaw, and it's just a matter of like whose flaw is not going to be the one that blows up their whole season.
Yeah. So, all right, your NL, Harrison.
All right, going to the NL. Let's start with the Dodgers and the Reds. Again, I think the Reds are too early. The Mets, I think, handed them a playoff spot. And even if the Mets made it, I don't think my pick changes. I think the Dodgers are too much in the early rounds for these lower seeded teams. They should win. They are absolutely a juggernaut still. Do they have their problems? Yes. But you're going to have to be a much better team than the Reds are to really take down the Dodgers. I think that'll be an interesting series because I don't think the Reds are going to be necessarily bothered. It won't be too much. The lights won't be too bright.
Right.
I just think the Dodgers are going to be too much. Cubs Padres. This is an incredibly even series. This might be the most competitive series of all of them. I think when you look at the two teams side by side. During the regular season, the home team won every series they played 2-1. I'm going to take the Cubs at Wrigley. I think Wrigley is a big home field advantage. The conditions, San Diego's used to 75 degrees and sunny. They're not going to get that in Chicago. They're going to get the wind. They're going to get the loud crowd. They're going to get an environment that is not super friendly to a West Coast team. And I like the Cubs. Okay. Phillies, Dodgers. I think the Phillies are the best team in the National League. I know the Brewers have a better record. I think the Phillies are a better team. They're playing good right now. They are minus Wheeler. They're healthy. You know, Nola looks like he's finally regaining form. That rotation is great. that bullpen is deep and that lineup can hit. I just think they're too much for the Dodgers. I think they move on. And then Cubs Brewers. The Cubs won the head-to-head this year against the Brewers. They play them really well. They match up with them really well. I'm not ready to buy the Brewers just yet. Good team. I just don't think they're ready yet. And I like the Cubs to move on. I think the experience of that team, I think a guy like Kyle Tucker, who's been in the playoffs basically every year of his life, means a lot. And I think that makes a big difference. So I've got Phillies, Cubs in the NLCS. I think the Phillies are too much. Again, they won the head-to-head with the Cubs. They played really well against the Cubs. They match up really well against the Cubs. They're too deep. I see the Phillies winning the National League. And then ultimately, I see the Phillies being too much for the Blue Jays. And I see a red October finally happening for Phillies fans, where this is the year the Phillies can actually run through the National League and not have that juggernaut team like the Dodgers last year, waiting to be, that's ready to take them out. Last year was a total flop for them. The year before that, they ran into a really tough matchup. They finally have a path to the World Series that I think gives them the opportunity.
And they have to. They have to win it this year. They have to win it this year because the window is actively closing as we speak, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to run through my NL. So my upper bracket looks exactly like Harrison's. I'm taking the Dodgers over the Reds. I love the Reds that they got there. I think they can sneak a game out of there. I think Hunter Green could go in for a start and shut them down, but I think ultimately the Dodgers come out on top there. I'm gonna take the Padres against the Cubs here in the opening round. I think Tatis is built for the big moment. Machado's built for the big moment. Like these guys are built for the big moment. They had the Dodgers on the ropes last year. They did. They had him on the ground. They were beating him up. They had him knocked out. And then all of a sudden they didn't throw the last punch and they backed up. They backed off. The Dodgers stood up, knocked him right in the mouth, and then moved on. So I think the Padres learn from that. And I think they just put the pedal on the metal and they take care of the Cubs. Because they're not going to let what happened last year happen to them again. I love their bullpen. I mean, you made a good point earlier. Maybe the bullpen's not even a factor because the Cubs can jump on them, which they can. But I'm taking the Padres there. Phillies and Dodgers will be an epic series. I think that could go the distance. I really do. Like I said with the Dodgers earlier, Yamamoto's pitching's been ridiculous lately. Suzuki's now in the bullpen, so you don't have to worry about him coming in and walking 85 guys to start. And that splitter out of the bullpen is gross. I don't know if you've seen his last few outings, but he has tuned it up. He's found something, and maybe putting him in the bullpen was the answer. I just think for everything you said, I think the Phillies are deeper. They're longer. The pitching is really stinking good, all from the left side. So you got Sanchez, Suarez, and you got Nola on the right side. But I think those lefties can really take care of Ohtani. They can take care of Freeman. They can take care of the lefties in that Dodgers lineup. Now, listen, Ohtani's still going to hit a couple home runs. Freeman's probably still going to hit 300. But we've also seen postseasons where the Dodgers don't show up. We saw, what was it, Freeman, Betts, and Ohtani was 0 for 17 at one point, a couple years ago? So I think possibly that kind of happens again, especially with the left-handed pitching that the Phillies have, and the Phillies move on there. I hate this pick that I'm taking the Padres down here over the Brewers. I love what the Brewers have done. But again, this is a trust issue for me. The Brewers just prove they cannot get out of a single playoff round ever. They can't. For whatever reason, it's just their Achilles heel. They just can't get past the playoff round. So,
I will say though, Nick, at least we know the Brewers won't get eliminated in the first round this year because they got to bye.
well, fair. And that's why I said their first round.
Yeah.
So I hate it because I do love that team, but I think they're close, but like you said, not quite ready. They got some great pieces that can go in and sock the Padres in the mouth for sure. So I mean, I think that will be a great series. I really do. But I think Padres ultimately come out on top there. I'm going to take the Phillies flat out over the Padres. I think the Padres kind of run out of steam there. The Phillies hitters are too good. Um, I mean, Padres have a great lineup too, but not as good as the Phillies. And I think the Phillies have the starting pitching that will get them over the hump there. So I'm taking the Phillies, and then it's going to be Seattle and Philly in the World Series. And for the sake of being different and hoping to get brownie points on this show with some of our fans who are Seattle Mariners fans,
What a brown noser.
I think I want the Seattle Mariners to win their first World Series, for crying out loud. And this, if they're rolling, if they are playing Seattle Mariners baseball, they have a legit chance. They really do. There's something cooking up there that is special. I mean, we've seen it all year with Cal Raleigh. It is a different guy every night that is making a difference. Dom Canzone has come out of nowhere. He was a trade from the Diamondbacks when Gino first went to Arizona. He came over in that deal or something like that. It was like Josh Rojas and a whole bunch of stuff like that. So they've done a couple deals with Arizona already. He came over in that first package. He comes up and he's making impact. It's JP Crawford some nights. It's just somebody different every night. And I think the Mariners can keep that up. And I think they're eventually their first World Series championship.
Yeah,
So
I love it.
that's where I stand.
I love it. You got in the chat. We got somebody picking Toronto versus Milwaukee. Brewers winning it all.
Okay, I would
love it.
take that too. I would take that too. I'd give the Brewers their first World Championship. I wouldn't even mind seeing a Mariners and Brewers. I really would. I think that would be awesome. Two teams
Well,
playing for their first World Series championship ever would be sick.
yeah, and just full disclosure for us, like this is not what I want to have happen. This is just what I think will happen.
Right.
I mean, I would
Same.
love nothing more than to see a Mariners Brewers World Series. I just don't think it'll happen. I mean, there's been some comments in the chat, bad pick or this team's better. They might be. Honestly,
Right.
I hope my bracket is mostly wrong.
Right.
And that we get the matchups I actually want. Because do I want to see the Blue Jays and the Phillies? No, I don't. I want to see the Mariners and the Brewers. I want to see the Red Sox and the Cubs. I want to see way different matchups in the World Series than I think
Yeah.
are likely to happen. I just we're picking them based on what we think will happen, not necessarily what we want to have happen.
Yeah. And yeah, I just and it's a crapshoot, right? I mean, my pick's not wrong.
Really
Your pick in the chat's not wrong. I mean,
No.
like one of us is going to be right, one of us is going to be wrong, or both of us are going to be wrong, and nobody wins. I don't really know, but
I love this pick right here, Reds Mariners.
Reds Mariners, that would be
I would
sick.
be so pumped if that happens.
That would
Underdogs,
be sick.
I would love to see the Dodgers. I'd love to see all the big market teams get blown out early, and see these little middle market teams battle for it.
And that's the thing about this show that we have is like we are here for the chaos. We aren't experts. We are fans just like you, right? We watch the game in the same lens as all of you guys. We are not paid to do this. We are just fans that have a platform for other fans to come and share their opinions. That is it. We are not professionals. I will throw that out there. This is just us watching baseball, taking it in, making our own opinions. So that being said, like this could all be wrong. Heck, I don't even know if these teams are actually in the playoffs. I just made them up.
I mean, I will say we've watched a lot of baseball, and we're usually pretty close to right. But
yes,
the playoffs, it's one pitch, it's one bounce, it's one fly ball that drops in, changes everything. And like Michael was saying over here in the chat, both you would love to put the Red Sox as World Series champs, but you're using your brains. I mean,
right.
yeah, I'm a Red Sox fan. I'd love to see them win it all. I just don't think they can.
No,
Doesn't
I'm
mean
with
I'm
you.
not going to be hoping it happens or rooting for them. And I just, we're trying to call it as we see it, not necessarily as we want it to unfold. But I am here for there is nothing in the world to me better than postseason baseball. Every pitch could be the pitch that changes everything. Any little hesitation on a throw or double play you don't turn or blooper that drops in can change the whole outcome of the entire playoff picture. It is
Hmm.
it is just a month of complete and utter chaos,
Yep.
and it's the best part of the year.
Yeah, 1000%. And yeah, we love our Red Sox, right? And they have three pitchers that could get hot. And
Totally.
you only need three pitchers in the postseason.
That's it.
And if you got Crochet, Giolito, and Brian Bayo dealing, Red Sox could ride that for a while. But
Yep.
just I don't have complete faith. I want to, I just don't. Because like Michael said, we kind of use our brains. But um
Or what's left of them.
yeah. Oh yeah, like Tommy, listen, we're still pulling for them every pitch. Like I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely.
I have them out in the first round for crying out loud, but like I don't have Yankees stuff on my wall. Like I'm like I mean I'm going all Red Sox. Like I am rooting for them hard, right?
Yeah.
They are my team, but we are baseball fans as well, like
Yeah.
realistic
And
baseball fans.
and I'm going to be watching the Cincinnati Reds Dodgers series, rooting for the Reds because I want to see
Right.
the Reds upset them. I picked the
Yep.
Dodgers because I think they'll win. Doesn't mean I want them to win. I will absolutely be hoping the Cincinnati Reds take down Goliath,
Yep.
and I'm here for it.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's all about the chaos for me, unless it's my team. Now, my nightmare scenario would be if it's Red Sox Diamondbacks. Then no, I can't do that one. You can't make me
No,
pick there.
our nightmare scenario was last year with Yankees Dodgers because I wanted to puke at the thought of picking either one of those teams.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's,
Um,
I'd rather pick between two teams I like than two teams I can't stand.
okay, yeah, that's fair. But if you had to pick a backup World Series, so you have to take your two World Series contenders out and pick two new ones. Who do you think have the second best shot to get there?
Yeah, so I went Toronto, Philly. My backup would be Seattle, Chicago. I think Seattle and the Cubs would be my next pick.
Okay. Yeah.
I would also love to see Seattle and the Brewers. That would be actually, I would say, yeah, that'd be my third pick. I like the Cubs more than the Brewers, but I'd love to see Seattle, Milwaukee have two teams battling for their first.
It'd be so sick. I would love that.
MLB would hate that for ratings, but I'd love it as a fan.
They would. I'm gonna kind of backpedal a couple rounds here, and I'm gonna say Brewers and Blue Jays. So I'm gonna take the Brewers. I'm gonna take the Brewers beating the Padres and getting there, and then putting the Blue Jays up there. The AL East bracket for me, I think, could be a crapshoot. Right. I mean, I know the Red Sox have a good record against the Yankees, but that doesn't mean anything in the playoffs. Yankees could be handling the Blue Jays, but again, doesn't mean anything in the playoffs. So,
Yep.
I mean, for me, it's whichever of the three is riding hot right there. But I'd like to backpedal, get Brewers and Blue Jays. But
I like this one, Robbie. Padres, Blue Jays.
Padres, Blue Jays is a good one. Yeah,
that'd be
for sure.
One.
Yeah, crazy. All right.
Michael in the chat. Last year I was rooting for a meteor.
He wasn't the only one. That is for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Anything else on predictions before we kind of who's your World Series MVP?
Honestly, I'm going to take Schwarber. I feel like Schwarber is going to go out with a bang. And he's going to make it so that Phillies fans won't let the Phillies not re-sign him. He's going to make it so the organization can't let him go. That man is going to get paid.
Yeah.
And he has a flair for the dramatics.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Brian Wu as my World Series MVP. I think he could go, I think we could go 1, 4, and 7. I think we could see him 3 times in a 7-game series if it's Mariners Phillies. Yep. I think he could be your World Series MVP there. Dark horse Randy Arozarena, because we've all seen what he does in the playoffs.
Cap'n literally just put in the chat, Arozarena World Series MVP.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we've all seen what he can do in the playoffs. He can absolutely just tear it apart. He's one of those guys that lives for the moment. But
Yep.
um, yeah. Um, yeah, he doesn't like this prediction, which is fine,
And
and
I
I could be
and
wrong.
I
It's fine.
and I don't care. I mean, everybody can have their opinion.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So
But when they do lose to the Mariners, you're going to come back and say you missed that one, or are
no,
you just going to troll? You're just going to troll us on the pick.
yeah, right. He doesn't. You don't give the
Well, that's
reason why, but
yeah. I really I wish the Mets fan that gave us crap like 3 months ago and said that they'd be up by 10 games, they'd win it running away, and we said no, they won't. I wish they'd
yeah,
come back, but they've
yeah,
never come back.
yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, Bo Bichette is a big, big add to that lineup. And we said that. He comes back, he extends that lineup. It is going to make the Blue Jays much, much better. And I agree. I think the Blue Jays could get there. I really do. I just don't know. Like, do we trust them? When they're kind of like the American League Brewers, right? They've been there a few times in the last few years and they just can't get over the hump. So can they
Yeah.
finally do it? I hope so.
Well,
I
and that's
do love seeing different teams further along in the playoffs than just being like, hey guys, we're here. Never mind, we're going home.
yeah,
Like, like
yeah.
I do want to see them succeed. I really do.
Well, and that is why I picked the Blue Jays over the Mariners. You and I have the same ALCS. I've got the Blue Jays beating the Mariners for that exact reason. I just think that lineup, that lineup is too much. The Mariners have the pitching advantage for sure.
Yeah.
But I think I mean, look at you had Alejandro Kirk hit 2 home runs, including a grand slam today.
And that
And
ball was crushed too.
yeah, when they needed that to come, when they needed somebody, and I think that the Blue Jays have enough. And if Bichette is not healthy when he comes back and he's like 80% of himself, they're in trouble. A healthy Bo Bichette completely changes that lineup.
Yep, agree.
He sets the table. He makes everything go. Without him, that lineup is not good enough to beat the Mariners.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a great series if those two end up matching up.
Yeah.
I really do think it will be, but we'll see. And I
mean,
mean,
I don't think any series here are going to be kind of like a joke. I think they're again, like there's no team that is like so far ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
I just think they're all going to be good, and they could all go either way.
So for me, James, it's a trust thing with the Brewers. Now, listen, I have watched them play a lot this year. I love the game they play, but their calling card is we're here for the first round of the playoffs or for first playoff appearance, wherever it may be, and we lose. Again, they had the Mets on the rope last year. They had 2 outs in the 9th inning, and Pete Alonso just turns that around and says, "Sorry, you guys are going home." And that's the Brewers' MO since we looked it up, and I can't remember. They hadn't won a playoff series. They've been to one, but they hadn't won one in like 25 years, something like that. It was back a long ways.
Track record's bad.
Yeah, so that for me, that's where I get there. And then it was this part for me too, is the Padres bullpen is lights out. And it's going to be tough. But yeah. So that's how we got there. But
yeah. And to go back, Cheyenne, I actually agree with you. I picked the Blue Jays for that exact reason. Cap'n makes the comment in the chat here that the reason he doesn't think the Blue Jays advance is because he thinks Bo is going to come back and struggle because he's either not fully healthy or just, needs some time to ramp up and won't get to the playoffs. And that's not a bad take. If Bo Bichette comes back at anything less than full Bo Bichette, I think that Blue Jays team's in trouble.
Yeah, and I think that was the advantage that Trey Turner, because Trey Turner came back today and got some at bats, some live at bats. So that's a big advantage for Trey Turner and the Phillies to like get his timing back. For Bo to come back, because he's been out for the decent chunk of time, right? 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah, Bo's been out for 2 weeks. I think it was a 2 week stay.
Yeah. So
Mr. Skrilla, I think the Mets are asking that question too.
yeah, they didn't even put up a fight.
But that is not the first time the Mets have had their season ruined by the Marlins.
No. But yeah, I think it was huge for Trey Turner to go back and see live at bats. Now,
Yep.
can Bo Bichette come back and make an impact right away? Yeah, the dude's a beast. I think he could. But it is something to say. Sometimes you do lose your timing if you take a good chunk of time off, but hopefully not.
Yeah, I think the only thing that helps Bo Bichette is that he is such a good contact guy. And had if not for Aaron Judge hitting 331,
Right.
Bo Bichette wins the batting title this year.
Yeah.
Led the world in hits.
Yeah.
Even though Bobby Witt did jump over him. So second in hits, even though he missed the last 2 weeks of the year.
Wait, did you just say Bobby Witt jumped over him?
Yes, he did. 184 to 181.
So we won that preseason bet.
Oh, that's right. We bet for Bobby Witt to lead baseball in hits. Look at that. We got one right.
Let's go.
I like it.
Yep. We'll cash those in. What was that? We win $6.
Yeah, probably. I think we bet like 10 and we'll win like 25.
Yep, love it.
And totally right, Cheyenne. It's the Blue Jays have been good with Bo gone, but not as good as when he's there. He definitely makes a difference.
Cheyenne, are you from Toronto? I know you said American, so you're from Canada, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I wish Miles Mastrobuoni was still in the majors.
Yeah, right.
That clip is legendary with the announcers trying not to laugh as they're announcing the names.
Yeah, was it Brad Hand for like Brad Johnson to pitch to Mastrobuoni or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it was so bad.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah. All right. Anything else on the postseason? I mean, I know we've been kind of talking at it for a while here. Anything else you want to add kind of before we head into the trivia segment of our show?
The only thing I'll add is that I do believe this. What do you got?
Oh, you guys talked about the Mets and their manager. What are your opinions on AJ Hinch's job? If he's 2-0, he's gone, I think.
I think AJ Hinch is safe. That the ownership group is not proven to be super like reactionary.
That's fair.
I think AJ Hinch is safe, but I do think he's going to get the. You better come back and figure it out this year, or this will be your last.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get a pep talk, but not a firing. But I do not believe that the front office is super pleased with how the season finished. Now he could go run the table in the playoffs, and then all is forgotten.
Well,
but
facts.
At the same time, I do think even if they go and get blown out by the Guardians, I think his job is safe. But it'll be the last time he gets a free pass.
See, for me, I think he's gone because of the lack of stability. Right? You look at the Tigers last year. Right? Their first half was mediocre. Second half, they're just like, holy crap, they pull a rabbit out of their hat. He's pulling all the right strings at the right moment, gets them into the playoffs, gets them further than any of us thought. Scooble's a huge part of that, obviously. And that's a huge high, right? And they ride that high at the beginning of this year, and then all of a sudden it's an absolute free fall. Like, do you want your team and your organization on that roller coaster cycle? And to me, that's almost what it's kind of trending to be. I would almost rather stability, right? Say what you want about this next statement, but think about Alex Cora in Boston, right? We're not huge fans of Alex Cora in Boston, but it's stable, right? We hover around 75 to 85 wins. There's not much roller coastering. So then that way you can figure out where you need to address the holes in your team. If you're up and down, you just have no stability and you can't figure out what your team needs and when. So for me, I would say if he goes 2-0 here, they could be looking elsewhere. And if Rocco Baldelli walks, I think he could be a fantastic fit in Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, the Tigers did sign him to a long-term extension a couple years ago. Doesn't mean they can't still move on from it. But they seemed really bought in on him at the end of 2023. Then he brought him to the playoffs in 2024 and they didn't belong there, or they weren't supposed to be there. And then 2025 kind of went the opposite direction. So it's tough. He's in a tough spot where he rode such a high last year and it's been such a tough finish this year. But the Ilitch family has always been pretty even keeled, and I think that he'll be okay. But at the same time, they may want to make a point.
Yeah, and that's completely fair. Absolutely fair. But all right, final thoughts on this before we head into trivia.
Yeah, so as I started to say, I think this is the most level playing field we've ever seen going into the playoffs. There are no clear favorites. There are no runaways. I think this is going to be an incredibly exciting playoff season for us, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah, like I can literally sit here and make a case for each team to be the World Series champion here this year. Like you probably, depending on which team you root for, you'd probably laugh at all my takes, but like I could probably debate, I mean, maybe not the Reds, but everybody else, I could probably make a case that they could at least get to the World Series. But I don't think the Reds can get past the Dodgers and the Phillies. I think that's a really tough run.
I mean, that's brutal, but
yeah, but I think everybody else I could make a case for to get to the World Series. So I'm with you. I am here for the chaos. I don't know who I'm rooting for in the other series, like other than the clear underdogs, but like Padres Cubs, like I don't really have a dog in that fight. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the game there. I probably will be pulling for the Brewers just to get to their first World Series. I think would be incredible. So I have a couple dogs in the fight that I will be pulling for, but I think it's anybody's game. I really do. Like you said, there's not a clear head and shoulders team for me here.
No.
And for your pick for the Phillies, they have to do it this year or the window's closed, I think.
Yeah, I think there's a significant sense of urgency within that roster, knowing that change could be coming, and inevitably in the next year or two, change will come. Because we all know Wheeler's already on the way out. Realmuto's contract's going to end. We don't know what's going to happen to Schwarber. You've got decisions to make on Castellanos, Marsh, Bohm. There's a lot. There's a lot for them to go through over the next year or two.
Yep, agree.
And I agree with this comment from Robbie. Rocco is a good manager with a bad front office. I would love to see Rocco managing somewhere, and we talked about it on the last show. I think he probably asks out in Minnesota, and they probably let him go.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see him go to a team like the Mets or the Braves that actually has a commitment to win, because I think you'd really see him shine.
Yeah. I mean, win their first World Series, Jim. I got you. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, win it.
We meant
like,
win. Yeah.
We won't win it.
And this is an interesting point that I hadn't really considered, is the fact that the Blue Jays do have home field advantage throughout, which is great. But yeah, they're the only Canadian team, so they've got a whole country pulling for them. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of desire to see this championship go back to Toronto.
But how loud is a clap if they all got mittens on because it's so cold up there? And listen, and I can say that I'm from Maine, which is pretty much southern Canada. But anyways,
yeah, wow, yeah, I'm sitting in the White Mountains in New Hampshire, where it's it's in the 50s right now. So yeah, we get it.
No, I mean, listen, the Blue Jays haven't been there. They're a team that I will be probably pulling for. If my Red Sox don't get out of the first round, I am all in on the Blue Jays train. I am jumping on that bandwagon for sure.
Yep.
All right, go Reds. Don't be shocked if they pull an upset. They could.
Love it.
They got kids that don't care. They're going to go in there, like Harrison said, house money, balls to the wall. They're not going to care. They're going to go in there and play aggressive baseball for sure. John B.
John. Yeah. Mets should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. I don't think anybody would disagree with you. And right. Mets fans, as we said at the top of the show, Mets fans deserved better than what they got.
1,000%. So, all right. Well, that will conclude that. Tomorrow is in America. Yeah, it's like in America, pretty much.
I mean, yeah. It's at the same, basically same. What is it? The latitude is
Latitude.
Detroit. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
most
They
most of
do.
Toronto's basically in America.
Yeah, yeah. We said that Reds rotation could be a factor there for sure. Um, so I'm pulling for them for sure. Don't want to see the Dodgers get out of the first round, but
Oh my goodness, no. There's nothing would make me happier than watching the Dodgers lose in the first round.
yep. So, all right, Harrison, you got some MLB trivia for me.
I do. I've got some missing lineups for you, and I will say the theme of this one, Nick, for the minus a couple of them, but most of them are players you probably forgot played in this particular place.
Oh, great.
Guys that were there for a moment, and in many cases you probably don't remember they were there.
Awesome. Great. I'm awesome at these, so I
These
can't wait.
these are going to be fun. So
All
let's
right.
kick it off. All right, first one here, Nick. Who's missing from the 2001 Chicago White Sox opening day lineup? In the outfield, you had Carlos Lee, Jose Valentin, and Magli Ordonez. Around the infield, you had Sandy Alomar, Herbert Perry at third, Royce Clayton at short, Ray Durham at second, Paul Konerko at first, and you had this guy on the mound.
2001.
And while Nick's thinking about that, Jeff, I would love to see the Reds add a couple of anchor veterans around that young core. That'd be fantastic. But at the same time, it's got to be the right veterans so you don't mess up what you built.
I have no idea on this one.
So this guy is best remembered as kind of a edgy, kind of partier, fight the system kind of guy. Oh, we got it in the chat.
Oh, wow. It is David Wells.
Captain already threw Jamie Moyer out there, so we're on.
Jose Contreras. I'm going to be honest. No clue he pitched for the White Sox.
Yep, he was there for a season. so yes,
No
David Wells. And look at him. He looked good in the White Sox uniform. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was four.
I don't know.
That's a fair answer.
Yep.
A fair answer.
Dang.
Yeah, David Wells.
Wow. Dang. Good one.
All right. We're going to continue this theme here. All right. Who's missing from the 2007 Cleveland Indians opening day lineup? In the outfield, you had David DeLucci, Grady Sizemore, and this guy in right. Around the infield, you had Victor Martinez behind the plate, Andy Marte at third, Johnny Peralta at shortstop, Josh Barfield at second, Casey Blake at first, and CC Sabathia on the mound. Who was the right fielder? They call it a cup of coffee.
The X's are getting me.
This is a guy we know and love, Nick.
It's not Travis Hafner. This is a guy we know. Oh, I got it. It just hit. It just hit. I got it. It was so weird.
Yeah.
Not David Justice.
No, not Justice. It is, Nick. You got it.
Yeah, it is Trot. Nice, Joseph.
Yep. Joseph got it.
Yeah, Trot Nixon. As a Sox fan, I don't want to picture him in a different uniform, but dude, it's definitely Trot.
It hurt me putting that picture in because seeing him in another uniform was painful.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, Trot Nixon. Dang, good one. And again, a guy you forget that was there. But
yeah, I mean, he wasn't there long. They brought him in to make a big difference. He didn't play great there, but man, it was weird seeing that guy in a different uniform. It just didn't feel right.
Yeah, Coco Chris actually wasn't a bad guess because that would have fit the X's too. But
absolutely, that's a good one.
Yeah. All right.
So this next one's not so much a player that you forget was there, more so a player that isn't necessarily best remembered there. Let me put it that way, depending on what era you're in. So let's do this one. Who's missing from the 1980 Detroit Tigers opening day lineup? Around the outfield, you had Steve Kemp in left, this guy in center field, and Rick Peters in right. Around the infield, you had Lance Parrish behind the plate, Richie Hebner at third, Mark Wagner at short, Lou Whitaker at second, Jason Thompson at first, and Jack Morris on the mound. Who was the center fielder? This is
So
a
weird.
name we all know, but when you think of him, other teams and moments come to mind. At
It's
least for
so
me. Maybe not true for everybody.
it's so weird that you don't see Alan Trammell's name next to Lou Whitaker.
I know it was strange.
Kirk Gibson.
It is absolutely Kirk Gibson.
Nice job,
Joseph is
Joseph.
on a heater tonight.
Well, this is his team. Tigers are his team.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Kirk Gibson.
that is Kirk Gibson, who was a Tiger for a while and a very good one at that. But he is best remembered for his moments with the Dodgers.
Yeah. Man, I miss the thick elastic band pants. I mean, look at those things. Those things are sick.
Those are amazing. They're fire.
They are probably uncomfortable as hell, though. I can't even imagine.
Oh yeah, Smooth Will got it too.
Nice.
Robbie
So did
got
Robbie. It. Yeah. Nice. Good one.
Nice. We got Michael got it over here. Captain and Michael both got Trot Nixon, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That one I had to try to remember. All right. Moving on to the next one. So we're going to go back to our theme of guys you might have forgotten played there. So who's missing from the 1992 Kansas City Royals opening day lineup? Around the outfield, you had Keith Miller in left, Brian McRae in center, Kevin McReynolds in right. Around the infield, you had Mike McFarland behind the plate, Greg Jeffries at third, David Howard at short, Terry Shumpert at second, this guy at first base, and Kevin Apier on the mound.
I'm trying to think back because I'm sure Terry said his name. Joseph's already beat me to it. It's definitely Wally Joyner.
Somebody cut off Joseph's feet already. Holy cow, the man's on fire.
Yeah, definitely Wally Joyner. Nice job.
It is absolutely Wally Joyner. Obviously, best remembered as an Angel, best remembered for his rookie season when he won the Derby and all that. But yes, Wally Joyner.
Nice. Dang.
All right, this next one, Nick. This is one that I just wanted to do for fun. This is a guy you absolutely remember being there. Who's missing from the 1991 Minnesota Twins opening day lineup? Around the outfield, you had Dan Gladden, Shane Mack, and Kirby Puckett. Behind the plate, you had Brian Harper. At third, you had Mike Pagliarulo, Greg Gagne at short, this guy at second base, Kent Herbeck at first, and Jack Morris again on the mound.
I got this one. Joseph, don't stop. No. Don't stop. Keep going. That's what this is for. This is for you guys. It's not for me. Listen, I've already looked at the answers and pretend like I don't know it. Kidding. I usually don't.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, Joseph. Yeah. Keep going. You're just on fire tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't stop. Yeah. Nice job. Chuck Knobloch is correct. Thomas got it. Robbie got it.
Joseph got
it. Yep. Nice job. Yep.
Chuck Knobloch, and Robbie, don't worry about spelling. We get the autocorrect pain. We knew what you meant.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely Chuck Knobloch, who was such a weapon for the Twins.
Yeah. And the Yankees.
Opponents. Until they couldn't throw anymore. Yeah.
I said Yankees.
The Yankees opponents.
Yeah. I mean, that's sad.
Such a weapon.
Dude, the yips it's terrible, dude. The yips sucks.
It's real, man. It is a thing, and man, is it brutal to watch.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Moving on. So this is the guy we love, Nick. This will be a fun one. All right. Who's missing from the 2001 Chicago Cubs opening day lineup? You got Rondell White in left, Damon Buford in center, Sammy Sosa in right. Around the infield, you got Joe Girardi behind the plate, Bill Miller at third, Ricky Gutierrez at short, Eric Young at second, this guy at first, and then John Lieber on the mound.
All right.
Yeah, John, it was funny. I got Jack Morris twice. I'm pretty sure I got John Lieber twice too. So this is interesting.
Oh, I had that comment up when you were reading that. Oh well.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Or
Chuck
did
was
you
a great
just
second
click it?
baseman to
Oh,
watch.
you just clicked it.
Yeah,
Um,
Knobloch in his prime was a lot of fun to watch.
it's not
Nope,
Mark.
not
Not
Crime
Mark
Dog,
Grace.
not Grace. Good guesses.
Derek Lee doesn't fit. 2001. Mark Sweeney? Mike Sweeney?
Nope.
Hmm. I got nothing. These are hard when there's no context.
I know, it's great. I love it. So this guy, big leg kick and a Canadian.
Oh, no way. It's
Eric
him?
Karros, that's a good guess. Oh, I don't
I
know who. So you say who it is.
I'm gonna give the chat a minute because I definitely
It absolutely is, Nick.
yeah. I never knew he actually started a game. Thought he just came in mid-game.
Yeah, he's best known as a very effective pinch hitter. Any Phillies fans would know him.
Any Phillies fans, any A's fans, any Brewers fans, any Tigers fans, any
Red
Rangers
Sox
fans,
fans.
any
But
yeah,
he
this
was
is
pretty. I mean, I think people probably most remember him with the Phillies.
yeah, I think that's fair. This is definitely Matt Stairs.
It is absolutely Matt Stairs.
Yeah. Wow.
And look at him in that beautiful Cubs uniform.
Great. Pinstripes do him justice.
I know. He had that big leg kick and that lumberjack swing.
Uh-huh.
Did Canada proud.
Crazy. That's
But
great.
one of those guys that he's like a cult phenomenon.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Fans just always loved him because he was just such a different player.
Yep.
All right, Nick. Who's missing from the 1984 Cincinnati Reds opening day lineup? You got Gary Redis in left, Eddie Milner in center, Dave Parker in right. Around the infield, you got Dan Billardello behind the plate. You had this guy at third base, Dave Concepcion at short. Ron, I always pronounce his name wrong. I always want to say it's Wester or Oster, but I always get it wrong. Dan Driessen at first, and Mario Soto on the mound. Who was the third baseman?
So this might be really random, but I was looking this guy up to do a silhouette challenge the other day. But
Really?
it's something like weird like this, I think. I'm like close to it, but I can't remember how to spell it. Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
you're
was
so
look
close.
because I had never heard of it before, so I like dove into him.
Yeah, I remember him as a Red Sox for like a minute.
See, like I had never heard of him, period, before, but it was just random
Oh,
because I was looking up to do like random silhouettes that you see on our page. And his name was like, oh, I'll dive into him. And then I looked at the years and I was like, how do I not know this guy?
yeah,
And
I love
yeah,
I love Michael's guess for Matt Stairs. Matt, professional hitter Stairs.
it is
uh,
a Saski.
it is Nick Asaski. Absolutely Nick Asaski.
Wow.
I saw a random post in a group about him, and I was like, oh, that'd be a fun name to plug in, but he'd only really be remembered as a Red just because of the time. I mean, that's where
Yeah.
he spent most of his career.
Wow. And maybe that's where I saw it too. Maybe we saw the same thing. I don't know. But somehow
Could have.
I was researching him the other night. It was really weird.
That is really weird. I love it
Yep.
because I go down these weird rabbit holes.
Oh, all the time,
Players.
dude. For sure.
I
Right.
do love the one batting glove though. That's an interesting choice.
Well, it's just like in golf.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got to keep that bottom hand.
Yep, for sure.
All right. This one is fun. I feel like everybody's going to get it, but this one's fun. Who's missing from the 1989 Milwaukee Brewers opening day lineup? Around the outfield, you had Glenn Braggs, Robin Yount, Rob Deere. Around the infield, you had BJ Surhoff behind the plate, Gus Polidor playing third, this guy at shortstop, Jim Gantner at second, Terry Francona at first, and Don August on the mound. Who was the shortstop?
Can we talk about BJ Surhoff behind the plate?
Right? Well, he came up as a catcher.
Yeah, I just forget that. Well,
Oh
not
yeah,
enough.
Thomas. Yeah, vertigo derailed his game. Yes, that is correct.
Is it Gary
Gary who?
DiSarcina?
I love Stars,
Yeah.
but no, not Gary DiSarcina. It is a Gary though,
Is it Templeton?
not a Gary Templeton.
It's probably a terrible guess. Gary.
Michael's got it. Michael's got it over here in the Patreon chat.
Of course he does. He gets my silhouette ones in about 30 seconds after it releases.
I know, he's so good.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, not Molitor. Good guess, but not Molitor. This was a young, soon to be power hitting outfielder.
No, it's Sheffield for real.
It is Gary Sheffield.
No way. I forget he came up as a shortstop.
I know, I love it.
Wow.
Yeah, so Gary Sheffield was the starting shortstop in '89 for the Brewers.
Look how tiny he is.
He was so thin and so young.
Dang.
Yeah, Jacob said he meant Sheffield.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, Gary Sheffield, who was this wiry young guy, and turned into like everybody in that era, all of a sudden became this massive power hitting outfielder.
Yeah, shortstop does not pop into mind when you're thinking Gary Sheffield, for sure.
I know it's hilarious, but yeah,
you forget.
Yeah, Joseph Crap, I forgot him. Yeah,
yep.
I think we all do. I always forget about Sheffield as a Brewer.
Yep,
I do.
Hothead.
Yeah.
I love the emblem you got, John Dowd. That's incredible. The avatar you got on your name is awesome. Love it.
Oh yeah. That is fantastic. Yeah, so Gary Sheffield, just going to pull it up real quick. So it was, where'd it go? I closed it. That was my bad. He played a lot of games at shortstop in his career.
Yeah, he was like shortstop, third base, right? I'm pretty sure he split time there a little bit because I remember him as a third baseman, I want to say, too.
Yeah, so in '89, he played 70 games at short, 21 at third. Mm-hmm. Then he moved over to third base a little bit, and then he moved to the outfield.
Yeah.
So his first 2 seasons, he was a shortstop. Then he transitioned over to third base, stayed there for a couple seasons, and then moved to the outfield.
Nice.
Yeah, came up as a shortstop, which is just so weird.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I hated seeing Sheffield come to plate against the Sox. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, didn't we all? All right. This is another one of those players that I forget about his time. So who's missing from the 1997 Pittsburgh Pirates opening day lineup? Around the outfield, you had Al Martin, Jermaine Allensworth, and Jose Guillen. Around the infield, you had Jason Kendall behind the plate, Joe Randa at third, Kevin Elster at short, this guy at second base, Mark Johnson at first, and John Lieber on the mound.
John Lieber.
So who was the second baseman? We got 2 people already have it. Wow. Don't look in chat, Nick. Give yourself a second.
I don't got this one.
Well, Michael and Joseph.
Oh, is it really? Yeah, Tony Womack. Wow.
Yeah, that is Tony Womack.
Yeah, the timing makes sense for 2001 Diamondbacks, all that stuff.
Yep, there he is in his Pirates uni. Yep, wow. He was a pretty good Pirate.
Yep,
another forgettable Pirates team.
Yeah, for sure.
You're not wrong.
Wow.
Good and who would have thought John Lieber would be on this show twice?
Right? Crazy. Yeah, the X's would work for Neil Walker too. Yeah.
Yep. A little later, it totally would have worked.
Yeah.
All right, last one, Nick. This one, honestly, I completely forgot about this one. So, who is missing from the 2003 St. Louis Cardinals opening day lineup? Around the outfield, you had Albert Pujols, Jim Edmonds, and Eli Marrero. Around the infield, you had Mike Matheny behind the plate, Scott Rowland at third, Edgar Renteria at short, Fernando Vina at second, this guy at first base, and Matt Morris on the mound. So who was the first baseman? Pirates are a team I forget exists sometimes.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
facts.
Yeah. I mean, yep. Oh, we got guesses coming in.
Joseph's got it. I took a peek. Yeah, it's
Joseph and Michael
absolutely.
have it.
Yeah.
It is absolutely Tino Martinez.
Yeah. Crazy.
Another guy I honestly just never remember being with the Cardinals.
Uh-huh.
I
Wow.
just don't. Wow. Even looks weird in the uniform.
Yeah, right? Totally does.
It all seems wrong.
Yeah. Wow. Nice one. Well, Joseph, nice run there. Even Michael in the Patreon chat, nice run, man.
Whew. You guys were killing it tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, nice one. All right. Our 4th annual fantasy baseball champion was crowned today, rounding third baseball fantasy champion. Pretty cool. We've done it for 4 years. We've had a winner, a different winner all 4 years.
Yep.
And this year, a host finally won it. Oh, and it was me. It was me. Finally, the crown comes back home, Harrison. Only took us 4 years to get it. But
I know. You think we'd be better at fantasy baseball than we are.
Oh, my God. It was painful. I lost by like a half a point last year. Finally got over the hump this year, but we had a ton of fun. Everybody was engaged with the fantasy league this year, so it was absolutely awesome. But so thanks for everybody that was playing. If you want in on our fantasy baseball, send us a message when we put it out there next spring. And maybe if we get enough, we could get a couple leagues going. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean it's open. There's no restriction or requirements of how to play. If you want in, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is all I had for tonight. Do we John P. I think he finished 4th or 5th. Sean did. So he was in there. Do you have anything else? Huh?
He did all right.
Yeah. I do have one thing to add that was kind of cool. I don't know if you saw the Washington Nationals before the first pitch today. They all stood out on the field and tipped their caps to the longtime broadcaster that called his last game. That was really, really cool. The guy was standing up. He was crying. He was like pointing to all the players and stuff. Really cool really cool moment. Also in that game, the Washington Nationals fans stood up and applauded Michael A. Taylor, who started his career in Washington, announcing his retirement. They gave him a big standing ovation. 12 years in the league, Michael wow, my goodness gracious, struggling. Michael A. Taylor announced his retirement, so it was really cool for him to kind of end in Nationals Park in front of the fans where he started, and get that ovation. So pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool moment. I got 2 quick ones for you. One, I think many of us probably saw the articles today, but because of the timing of the trade, Rafael Devers actually played in 163 games this season.
Yep.
Because when he was traded from Boston to San Francisco, they actually had one more game remaining. So he played 163. Very cool. Hasn't happened in a long time. Didn't much matter. He had pretty much his standard season. That team missed the playoffs, so we're happy to see him go. But cool.
Yeah.
And second one, kind of a 2-parter here. So I'm not sure if you watched any of the Dodgers game today, but Clayton Kershaw made his final career regular season start. He was actually taken out of the game after, I want to say it was 5 2/3, and it was Freddie Freeman that came out to get him. Kershaw joked and said, "You can't have the ball," and they had a big hug, and he got his ovation. But what's interesting is with all the celebration of Kershaw this year, the Dodgers have left him off the wild card roster. He will not be playing in this series against the Reds. With all the pitching woes they've had this season, he's been so clutch for them when they needed him. But I think as guys have gotten healthy, as we always said, Kershaw felt like the odd man out there when everybody was healthy,
Yeah.
and that's playing out. He will not be on the wild card series roster. They announced that today.
Yeah. It was really classy for Mariners fans to give him the ovation that they did, though. For him to make his last MLB start on the road, it was pretty classy for Mariners fans to do that. So great job, Seattle fans. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and Seattle fans, I think they get the moment, they get the importance of it. There are other ballparks that certainly would not have treated them as well.
Yeah, for sure. This is a good question brought to us in the chat, Harrison. Which of the 4 top seeds will be impacted the worst by the break they get?
I think the team that's most affected by the break is probably the Brewers. The Phillies have been here before. They know what to expect. The Blue Jays are a more veteran team. I don't think that's going to be a huge problem for them. The Mariners also another kind of a lot of veterans, and they're heavily relying on pitching. I think it's the Brewers that are most affected by it. I do think the break affects all of them negatively. I don't think the break is necessarily as good a thing as it is in like the NFL where you get a week off to rest. But I think that of the teams that are in the playoffs that are getting a break, I think the Brewers are the team most likely to be affected by it because it is such a momentum killer.
For me, it's the Phillies, because if the Dodgers get by this first round and they're rolling and the Phillies then jump back in and try to stop that runaway train, they might not be able to. I kind of disagree with you with the Brewers, and it's only because they do so much of the little things that they will capitalize on everything because they hustle everything out, and hustle will win you games straight up, right? If things aren't going well and you take an extra base, boom, you're right back into it. It clicks. Like, I think the Brewers are that type of team. They're so scrappy that I think they could figure it out. Now, also, the Cubs and the Padres aren't a slouch to come in to try to figure it out. So I'm with you there. But I think their game kind of translates them where a break doesn't necessarily hurt them too much because of the style of baseball they play. For me, it's the Phillies. Trying to come in and stop a Dodgers team if they're rolling could be tough if they aren't ready to go.
Yeah,
so that's me.
All fair points. I think for a team like the Mariners, I think the end of the season, all the fanfare around Cal and everything that happened, I think now going to a break is almost like anticlimactic, and it almost feels like a letdown of sorts. And I do worry about what that does to a team that has become very reliant upon kind of power hitting, big hits, big moments.
Yeah.
But I think the break affects everybody. In baseball is a game that's built on momentum and timing, and it's meant to be played just about every day. And that break is not good for anybody.
Yeah. Jacob, I understand everyone hustles in October. I get that. It's the type of baseball the Brewers play. They always take the extra base. They're watching to make sure that the team hits the cutoff. And if they don't hit the cutoff, man, they're up another 90 feet. That type of baseball translates from game to game, no matter how much the break is. Not every team does that. You watch the Padres, they might hustle to first base, but then the breaks go on, and that's it. The Brewers don't just put the brakes on. They are still moving in case that cutoff man is missed, and boom, they're up 90 feet, while the Padres guys heading back to first base. The Brewers take the extra base more than any other team in this bracket right now, and you'll see that. So that's what I was saying by it will carry over from the break. Like, I get everybody hustles, but they are constantly looking to take the extra base, right? It wasn't like today's game where you saw the Brewers and Reds, and the Brewers threw it to nobody on third base, but it took the Reds runner a couple seconds to realize that the ball was to the backstop, right? The Brewers would have already been halfway home because they would have understood that was going on, right? That's just the type of team they are. That will translate whether there's a break or not, in my opinion.
Yeah, very true. Interesting point from Cap'n in the chat. He thinks it's Toronto, and they also have the toughest incoming team. That's
Mm.
that is you're going to sit back and wait for for a very strong team to roll into town. Not that anybody's a cupcake at this point in the season, but yeah, Yankees Red Sox coming off of the Yankees or the Red Sox coming off a Yankees Red Sox series.
Yeah,
They're gonna come in hot.
that's a great point. Yeah, yeah.
John, for first series of 3 games, how many games will it take the Tigers to completely blow this season? 2 or 3?
One.
Uh, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I think the series probably goes 3, but um, it could very easily go 2 because they're playing really rough baseball. Scuba's last couple starts weren't spectacular. The defense wasn't good behind him. The offense has been flat. It very easily could be 2.
yeah. I get this point too. Is like
Yeah.
if you win a series quickly and you have a 3 or 4 game gap waiting for that other series to
Yep.
finish, like sometimes that breaks the killer too. It's like sometimes you want to go 5 or 6 just for the heck of it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree that baseball is not meant to have a long break.
So Dodgers statistically take the extra base more than anyone in the NL. Okay, fair. Okay, so Dodgers fan, got it. But I just think that the Brewers play that scrappy type of baseball where I'm not saying the Dodgers don't, but the Dodgers can also hit the ball out of the ballpark regularly. They have guys that can do that. The Brewers have a couple. Otherwise than that, they got slap and speed guys. And that's all I'm meaning by that.
Yeah, they're relying on a lot of contact, which,
Yeah.
when you're a heavy contact team, a break is also not good for that. But those guys can keep a lot of that up.
Yeah.
As they wait for their next opponent.
Okay.
Interesting comment from Cap'n, and I don't disagree. You don't flip a switch in the playoffs. You are what you are at this point in the season, and I think that's true. I don't think you necessarily wake up in October and you're a totally different team. I think you keep playing the baseball that you play. You are who you are. You're not going to turn into somebody else. And then it really comes down to who executes when it matters and who gets the breaks.
Yeah.
A bad bounce, a blooper, a missed strike call, it can all influence the game.
Yeah. I think it's going to be so interesting because every team, it feels to me like, has a legit chance. Like they all have a different strength. They all have different weaknesses. Like each series to me is very intriguing in its own way, which is usually the case in postseason. But there's sometimes a couple of throwaway series where you're just like, yeah, this is going to be an absolute blowout. But this year looks a little bit different. And weird that it's almost all division matchups, except for that, if the Padres and Reds switch, that'd be crazy. But
yep, absolutely.
Yeah, we're taking some fan questions. Yeah. So anything you guys want to fire at us right now, go ahead. Go ahead, Edward. Yeah, we're always doing it.
Yeah. Always open. Yeah. Joseph, this is a great point. 06 Cardinals.
Yeah.
We'll switch you in October. And we've seen many circumstances where you've had wild card teams that were, didn't have a lot of high expectations. They just got hot at the right time, played good baseball and ran themselves all the way to a world championship.
Yeah. I mean, look at the Rangers, right? All their victories on the road, they were 11-0 on the road. And they had the shirts that was like they beat the Rays, the Orioles, the Astros, and the Dodgers, like road or Diamondbacks, sorry. Yep. So road. And they were like 11-0 on the road that series.
Yeah, they're
so it's
terrible
crazy.
At home.
So we're split on this, Edward. I know you're a diehard Red Sox fan, as Harrison and I are. Harrison has the Red Sox moving on. I have the Yankees beating them, which hurts me to my core. We have to go into the Bronx, and it's the playoffs. Sox haven't been there for a while. The Anthony loss really hurts. Man, I mean, I'm pulling for my boys, but unfortunately, I think the Red Sox come up short. But I think it's going to be a great series.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think it's going to be a great series. I like the Red Sox. The Red Sox have owned the Yankees all year. The Red Sox are 5-2 at Yankee Stadium. I'll take Garrett Crochet over Max Fried in a game one every single day, twice on Sunday. I like the matchup for the Sox. That's who I want to see the Red Sox get in the first round.
Yeah. So who threw for the? I mean, they probably threw a bullpen game today, I'm guessing. Because I'm not familiar how they're lined up right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess how would you line it up versus how it actually is lined up are probably two different things. But I mean, I think Nola's your game one guy. That seems to be an obvious one. Ranger Suarez has been unbelievable for them in the playoffs in the past.
Now Christopher Sanchez is going to start game one.
Okay, because I feel like Nola just pitched over the weekend.
Yeah. So it would be Nola. It would be Sanchez, then probably Suarez, right?
Yep, because Ranger's been so good in the playoffs.
And then game 3.
That's got to be Nola then.
Yeah, Nola, or do you?
I mean, my guess is you're going to roll. I mean, I guess the order is tough because we don't know exactly how they pitch, but you're going to go Nola, Sanchez, Suarez. I'm assuming are the three you're going to roll with. Luzardo is a great option.
That is a great one.
He probably ends up being your long man because I think Nola pitched a few days ago, so he wouldn't be on full rest. So yeah, I think you go with Sanchez, Suarez, and Nola, whatever order that is.
Yeah, and they did do Nola's not game one. They did do a piggyback start a couple days ago, and they did it with Buehler was the second one in. Who was the first guy in? I can't remember. They did like a piggyback start. But so I mean, they could do something like that. Maybe I don't really know. I mean, it's a good problem that they got some guys that will fill that hole. The Phillies will be fine, but I think they'll go Sanchez. They probably want to go lefty, righty, lefty too, because they have a break. They can set their rotation how they want. So they probably want to go Sanchez, Nola, Luzardo, and then go from there because they have that random day off between games 2 and 3 or something like that, 3 and 4. The schedule's weird. I hate.
No, it's a sprint. It's 3 days in a row. This one's
the Phillies aren't in the wild card.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the first round. You're right. We're moving on to the second one.
Yeah,
I'm thinking the first round. So yeah, no, the Phillies will have the break. So you'll have. So actually, you would have the ability to get everybody lined up and squared away. So yes, so Sanchez would be your best option for game one.
Yeah. So Jared saying Sanchez, Luzardo. Yeah.
Sanchez, Luzardo, Suarez. I mean, Suarez has been so good for them in the playoffs that there's no way he's not a big piece of their plan.
Yeah.
And Nola's just got back from injury. He's looked good in 2 of his last 4 starts. He's had a couple of duds in there, but he finally looks sharp again. And I can't imagine that they're not going to try to utilize him.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely, I would think.
But again, like I've said for weeks, like don't underestimate the impact of that long man in the playoffs. That guy who can come in and clean up when a starter, can clean up, keep you in a game when a starter doesn't have a good outing.
You think that's Buehler? You think that's Buehler?
I don't know what to do with Buehler, to be honest.
I mean, you're not going to start him.
No, you're not going to start him, and I agree completely with the comment of losing Wheeler hurts.
That was the worst.
Yeah, this is a lot easier to figure out if Zach Wheeler's there. Like it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's him game 1, it's him game 2, it's him game 3. Let Sanchez pitch game 4, and then bring Wheeler back for 5.
Pitch him whenever you can.
Yeah, no, I'm with it. That was my one question mark going into the playoffs with the Phillies was how much this Wheeler injury was going to affect them and hurt them. But the other arms they got, I mean, you're not going to replace his production, but it makes it a little more palatable to have that loss. But I mean, it's hard because he's a top 5 pitcher in baseball when he's right. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and John, I normally would agree with you, but where they have the bye, it's kind of like a tune-up start. You get the guys; it almost becomes like a bullpen day for them. They go out, they get a few innings, and that way they, when they get that break, they come back into the next series on regular rest.
yeah, and it's almost going to be like their regular schedule, anyways. Right,
Exactly.
because it's going to be 5 days and then they're going to pitch again. So it's almost like they
Yep.
don't lose anything. They just keep their same routine. Yeah. Do you think Sox or Yankees pitch free to Crochet on short rest for game 2 of the DS? No. If they're going game 1, you won't see them game 2. Right? They're both lined up for game 1, correct?
I say they're as of from what I saw earlier, they're both lined up to pitch game 1.
Yeah, there's no way you would see them in game 2.
You've got tomorrow off. Crochet hasn't pitched in 4 days because he didn't pitch in this series, right?
No.
When did Crochet pitch last?
No, because we had Harrison on Friday.
Oh, that's right. It was Harrison, and then it was Connolly early, and then it was like a game today.
Yeah. So yeah,
Crochet's lined up to pitch game 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9:24. That's right. Toronto. He pitched again. He threw 8 against Toronto.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no way that they pitched game 2 if they're going game 1. No way.
No. Oh no. Yeah, they should both be lined up for game 1.
Yeah.
Because Fried last pitched same day as Crochet, so they're both going to be at full rest on Tuesday. So it's Fried and Crochet in game 1 for sure.
Are we going out to watch the World Series this year? Catch a game or two, Edward? If you're paying, we'll definitely go because those tickets are going to be $2,500 a piece at least. Yeah. That's the dream.
Yeah, we will for sure be watching it on TV and probably even doing watch parties online. But no, we will not actually be at the World Series. Oh,
gotcha. Of the DS. If I knew how to read, Mike, I'd be upset. Yeah, so he said DS in that, not game 2 of the wild card.
Okay.
So how short of a turnaround is that? It depends, right?
If they go for the full 3, they only get they'd be too short. So game 1 is certainly out. You're asking about game 2. Game 2 would be 3 days rest.
No, not this early. I don't think.
I think it depends on how game 1 goes. If they lose game 1, you may actually have to throw one of those guys game 2.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
So that might be one of those you wait and see. But I think in the situation, if you lose game 1, you think really hard about bringing them back on short rest.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if you lose game 1, it's a must. You got to get the series back even. You can't go down 2-0.
No, 2-0 is not a good spot to come back from.
No.
Granted, you come home at that point, so there's some help there, but not a good spot to be in.
No. Yeah. All right. Well, you got anything else for us tonight? What an incredible show this was. Love everybody's input about who they thought was, think's going to go on. And we're strapped up and ready for some baseball here. Tuesday, Wednesday, possibly Thursday night, we could be on and some deciding games. So we will see what happens.
It's going to be fun. We got tomorrow off, and then we get right back at it Tuesday.
Yep, absolutely. So,
there's a question from Michael in the chat here. AL and NL Rookie of the Year.
AL's a layup.
Yeah, it's going to be Roman Anthony for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Nick Kurtz has the AL wrapped up. The NL, I feel like it's become Cade Horton. It was Drake Baldwin, I think, for most of the year, but Horton has been so unbelievably good the last couple of months that I feel like it's Cade Horton now.
I would agree with that. Yeah, it's definitely Augustin Ramirez isn't a bad guess either. But I think I'm with you, Harrison. I think it is Cade Horton. And probably Aaron Judge will get votes in the ALs because we all know that he gets votes for everything. So it's probably Aaron Judge for AL Rookie of the Year, and I'll take Cade Horton for NL Rookie of the Year. Because he's a Yankee, he deserves all he deserves all the awards. So,
well, it's just like Babe Ruth should be on every single all-time lineup.
I
We've heard that before too.
Brutal, but no, I mean it's Nick Kurtz. It's not even close. His season is, it's good for a veteran MLB player, and the dude just came up and just absolutely destroyed the baseball.
Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if the kid picks up an MVP vote or two. Like his season's been that good.
That good. Wild. But yeah, that's a good one. But yeah, I bet Augustin Ramirez will get some votes for sure. That's a great one, John Carter.
Yeah, Ramirez, Horton, Baldwin. Yeah, I think it's the NL is definitely a lot more competitive than the AL was. And for the AL, it was Jacob Wilson for the first half of the season, and then Nick Kurtz exploded onto the scene, and that was it.
Yep. Yeah. Game over. So, all right. Well then, thank you to everybody in the chat that added to the show. Like, you guys make this show what it is. So we really appreciate you guys. We appreciate the support, show after show, night after night. We will be back on Thursday night. We'll kind of, recap the wild card series. If they're all over by then, we could be live watching a deciding game at that point. We won't know till we get there, but we will be back on Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Really appreciate the support. Like, you guys have been incredible. You're the backbone of the show. I say it every show. Really appreciate it. We will be back on Thursday. Until then, hope your teams that you're pulling for do well, except the Yankees. And we will talk to you on